And for anyone who doesn't know, who hasn't seen it, it's just a stupid advert, just a Frosties advert, and this kid's just singing a song about Frosties.
Yeah.
And the rumour was that kid got bullied so badly at school that he killed himself. One of the ways that he was rumoured to have killed himself was by sticking pencils up his nose and slamming his face on a desk at school.
That's a classic school rumour as well, that you can die that way.
Everyone knows
and
it's the most efficient way of doing it.
So we said, like, we'll check for next episode and just find out whether he's dead or not.
Yeah.
Any guesses?
I'm going to say no.
No, he's alive and kicking.
He's alive and kicking.
Cool.
It's a general consensus. I'm going to go with yes,
Or
he's dead.
are you going to tell me that he never existed?
Whoa, deep.
Yeah.
So I looked it up. He is not dead.
Yay.
And he's actually doing pretty well. His name is Sven Ruygrok.
Ooh.
He's actually Ruygrok. Actually, I'll correct myself. Sven Ruygrok, and he is from South Africa. He now is an actor, and essentially, when he was 14 or so, he auditioned for that advert and
You got it.
got it. Yeah.
Going to taste great.
Yeah.
It tastes great.
So I had a few questions that I was trying to Google and try and find out. Like, I wanted to know how, like, was he actually bullied? Like, for one thing, and like he just didn't kill himself, but he was quite badly bullied. I wanted to know like what it was like just being this kid that everybody knew, and it was like a big meme, like back in the day, and sort of how that's affected him and stuff like that. So I reached out to him.
Yeah.
And I got a response. And Sven Ruygrok was very happy to sit down and have a chat with me.
Unbelievable.
Stop it, Tom.
No way.
Here is my interview with Sven Ruygrok. Hey, Sven.
How's it, Tom?
Hey, how you doing? You okay?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I am very good. Thanks for joining.
Pleasure. Magical, man. Shout for reaching out.
Yeah, no problem.
Tell me a little bit more about the Curious Cast.
We just find weird stories that we've found online, or like usually they can be pretty disgusting sometimes, and we're just a group of three guys that sit and joke about it, and that's it really. And
Nice.
yeah, I'm glad to find out you're not dead. That was good news.
Yay. Yeah.
Especially in the way that they said that you died was quite an awful one, that you slammed your head into the desk with pencils up your nose.
Yeah. Oh, there were some good ones, man.
Yeah.
But that was probably one of my best.
That was the most creative. How was that for you as a child? I imagine, from what I read, the bullying side of things was not as extreme as it was made out to be, but it was more just the rumours and misinformation out there.
For sure. I mean, off the bat, I must say that I'm incredibly grateful for what it was. The reason being is that part of my, I wouldn't use the word career, but part of something that I'm passionate about is motivational talks for kids, particularly on the subject of bullying and cyberbullying specifically, particularly within the realm in which we find ourselves now currently, and the online space. So that was a complete experience that I had. That was a wonderful draw card, which I share with people now on stage and talk to young kids and mentor through. In terms of, again, was I hugely affected by it? Not really. If I'm completely honest, not really. The thing that still remains very vivid as a picture in my mind was the agony of my parents. So I would never wish this on anyone, even my worst enemy, because, I mean, people who are parents will know that this is, I mean, it's not fun to hear things of, being said about your child, which you have no control over. And I mean, once those rumors started snowballing, they snowballed and they avalanched quite quickly. And I think that was the first sign of like, wow, this is far beyond your control. And I think that was quite, scary.
Yeah, I can imagine. For yourself, of course, you was very young. You was a teenager, so you might have been more interested in other things. But it is one of those things that could have really affected you if you were susceptible to it. And I can imagine, like you said, hearing those things happen about your child and having it's not like, again, because it was over a decade ago, wasn't as easy to sort of like pat down those fires. You couldn't go out there and make a, online. You couldn't just tweet and say, "Hey, rumors are not true. I'm not dead," and then they're gone. Like it was just spreading like wildfire through all the playgrounds in the UK.
For sure. And I think that was something that was a great grace as well, was the fact that I wasn't there in the UK. I think it would have been a very different story if I was on those playgrounds, and seeing pictures of myself or seeing like the videos that I still to this day, I love them. Some of my best ones, like getting smashed by a train, like people were really creative.
Yeah.
But I think had I been there, it would have been a very different story.
Yeah, sure. So tell me about that. You was in the UK, of course, as a teenager at the time of filming, and then now you're in South Africa, right?
Yes. So not at all. It was shot and filmed here in South Africa.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have to go. I had nothing to do with the UK whatsoever, bar the fact that it was released there.
Oh, okay.
And it was for the UK market. Auditioned like every other teenager. I think I was about 14 at the time. So I just started high school this side. I've lived here my whole life. Didn't really care much for the acting scene at all. My passion was gymnastics. That was my love. That was the thing that I enjoyed the most. And by that stage, I was training about 6 hours a day, 6 days a week. So getting a commercial came all through gymnastics. Like they would often phone my coach and be like, "Listen, do you have a young boy who could do a flick flack, who could do like a bit of a handstand, who could do da da da?" And that's how I got into commercials. And through commercials, I got an agent. Through an agent, I ended up following a career in acting. But this was just another audition, where I had to, be a fairy and a ballerina and a dragon or whatever. And they were like, "Okay, cool." I got the role. I was in Johannesburg at the time, and they were shooting down in Cape Town. And we shot here in Cape Town for about 5 days, and it was glorious. I had the time of my life. We shot all over the place, from really cool beach scenes to in the vineyards in the Cape Winelands. And it was, I had a joy. I absolutely loved it.
That sounds great. One thing that a lot of people don't know, or it doesn't really occur to people at the first time of watching, because that's the magic of TV. But you didn't sing that song.
Not at all.
No.
Not at all.
Which is it's a good little get out for you, because it is a very annoying song.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite lines in that song, and it was one of the lines that I think made the song a little bit more annoying and more memorable, is when they at the beginning, where it says, "They're gonna taste great. I can hear the sound of Frosties hitting my plate." It's like, who eats Frosties from a plate? Like, you eat them from a bowl. And that was and that was one of those things. I imagine that's not something that, as a 14-year-old auditioning for that, you paid attention to the lyrics at all. It was just a case of learning them.
No, yeah, learn it and mime and do your dance and like get out of there.
Just get it done with.
Yeah, get it done with. Exactly.
Brilliant. So, of course, because it was an advertisement that was released in the UK, and it probably wasn't. It wasn't as popular in South Africa at all.
Yeah.
I had it in my head that you probably was, getting recognised in the street and stuff like that. Because I imagine if you was in the UK, you probably would have. People would have stopped and said, "That's the Frosties Kid." But I imagine that wasn't the case for you, no?
No, that wasn't the case at all. No one cared, and I think that was a great thing. I had a bunch of friends who, actually, I was in geography class once, and they had discovered that I was doing commercials, and they're like, "Show us." I was like, "Literally, guys, are you sure?" They're like, "Show us." And so the thing, they're like, "That's stupid. Let's go play outside." And like whatever, let's move on. And I think that was such a great gift. And I ended up after school, I ended up moving to the UK for about a year, and I worked in some of the theatres in London. So I worked at the Apollo Theatre in Shaftesbury Avenue, and I remember a mate of mine was like. We were just chatting, and I was like, "Yeah, man, I was doing commercial," and he's like, "Man, yeah," and I was like, "Yeah, dude, do you know the Frosties Kid?" He's like, "No way, bro, no way, bro, like no way, you got me," and he went completely like mental. But it was funny because no one would even know.
No one cared.
No one cared.
No, and so that must have been a great experience when the reaction when you tell someone that you're the kid from the Frosties advert.
Yeah.
But How does that feel? Because everyone in the UK, probably over the age of 24, 25 at least, knows that advert. And if you was to even just show like a screenshot of that advert with your face, or play them a little bit of the song, everyone would go, "Oh my god, I remember this," or "Oh, I hate this song."
I hate this.
Or just like, can picture your face singing along to it. How does that feel to be such a big part of UK like pop culture and history? Or does it never really? It's not something that really enters your mind.
It's never really entered my mind at all.
Oh right.
Yeah. Sorry to disappoint.
No, I mean, yeah, it's good to have an honest answer, but yeah, surely there must be a little bit of you that thinks, almost everyone in the country.
So that was the thing. I never knew how big it was. We only got hearsay or third-hand information, which was passed down. I remember, and I'll share this with you. I remember I was at a shopping mall with my dad, and we were busy having like lunch together when my agent at the time phoned to just give him the information as to like, listen, this thing has blown up. And I remember seeing his face, and he's like, okay, cool, yeah. And he like, I didn't hear the conversation. I was just looking at his face. Yeah. So, okay, cool, yeah, blown up. Oh, and I'm like, who's that? He's like, your agent. I was like, And then I just remember seeing his face drop when I'm sure the conversation turned like it blew up, and everyone hates it, And I think he got quite like a little bit panicked. And I think I remember that to this day, is A, like the blood draining from his face, and then B, the decision that they had to make as parents was, do we expose our child to this, or do we keep him in ignorant bliss? Like, what do we do? And I remember them coming into my room and actually asking me, like, Sven, listen, this is the situation. This is what has happened. What do you want to do? Do you want to see some of the comments? Do you want to know about it? And I was like, yeah, cool, like whatever, And like, I really have to give them great credit, but they sat next to me on either side. Maybe for about 10 minutes, they allowed me to just scroll through some of the stuff. And I was like, that's hectic. Like some of the stuff that people were saying. And again, I use this for a lot of my motivational talks, which is from Instagram to TikTok to whatever you say. Like once it's out there, it is out there for life, and you have no control over what that may do.
Yep. Now,
fair enough. Great background, awesome parents, but some people aren't as lucky. Some people aren't as fortunate. And that, someone's word for like, for example, like, oh, you piece of whatever, or you trash, or whatever it is, or like commenting on your body or whatever, that can stay with you and can damage you for life. I mean, I have great friends who are still damaged from the things people said, kindergarten, play school, like, and I think that's a great awareness, is, are we really aware of what we're saying? And I take that with me to this day.
Yeah, that is brilliant. I couldn't have said it better myself. But yeah, so now you tell me about the sort of workshops that you run and the talks that you do.
So I've been doing these workshops now for about 6 years. It started with a film that I was in. It was a local film called Spud, which I acted with John Cleese and a really cool pop star at the moment now called Troye Sivan. And it was a South African novel. It's a 4-part novel, which we just translated them into films. Basically about boys going through an all-boys boarding school and literally a coming-of-age story. And I play quite a bully in his name is Rambo, and he's a bit of a chop, bit of a mean guy. But basically we had to take a picture for publicity, and it literally was just a t-shirt that said, stop bullying, or something along the lines, and took the picture, cool, carry on doing our thing. And it just didn't sit well with me. I was like, who are these people? What are we promoting? What are we not? So anyway, I ended up following up with these people, and there were a company called JAG Foundation, which particularly focuses on recreational sports in underprivileged schools to try keep kids at school so that they're not being used as drug mules here. And obviously the violence that happens, particularly within our country. So I just started, they were like, do you want to come and be an ambassador? And I was like, I don't know what that means. And I'm like, maybe just say something, like we'll go to some schools and you can just say whatever you want. And I was like, oh my word, like what am I going to say? At the same time, I was also a youth leader at my church, working in like quite a privileged area. And Tom, to be honest, the thing for me was like, it didn't matter whether I was working with the poorest of the poor or like your rich kids. There was just a common thread, which was kids today are unhappy and are completely lost. And from that, I was like, let me use what I have. I've had this experience of the Kellogg's Frosty, so I know a little bit about cyberbullying in the online space and what they can do potentially to people. I've had experiences of people who are close and kids who I've encountered who are committing suicide, attempted suicide, who have body image issues, who are completely body conscious with the Instagram world and are like anxious on our ADH, triple HD, antidepressant, anti-anxiety, you name it. And there's just someone, and I don't know if I'm the right one, but someone needs to tell these people why they are living and what's the point. Like, what is the purpose of your life? And to remind them that you are not your anxiety or your sexual identity, that you are far more than that. Like, you are made like incredibly, and you are made to have a great life. So how do you live that? And giving people the tools. They don't really have the tools. I've been very fortunate, like I said, to have some tools, and I'd like to pass that on. So that's how it started. And now I do talks that range from bullying and cyberbullying to racism and pornography, particularly looking at boys, to be men, to actually rise up to the occasion and be like, right, listen, we got to do something. And it's about taking on responsibility. And how can we do that? That's one of my passions.
That's amazing, man. Kudos to you for doing that. Not only do you do those, but you, like you said, you're an actor now, and you've managed to work with some pretty big stars. You mentioned John Cleese. I think I saw a photo with Orlando Bloom. Yeah. So how's that going?
Good. Well, I mean, I've been doing it for 10 years now. I love it. It's an up and down industry, as I'm sure most actors will know. And for me, it's about finding meaning and value outside of work. I think it's very easy for me to kind of jump in and get stuck in and say like, I am, and then put your label on it, actor, whatever. And I think having a family, being married, like your priorities now are just so different. So yes, I am an actor and I love these things, but I also have to do dishes. I also have to like clean nappies and carry on with normal day routine and be extraordinary in the ordinary. And yeah, so acting's going well. I love it. I would hopefully love to continue doing it way into my latter years, because people need stories, man. I need stories. I don't know about you, but yeah. I remember going to like the cinema or like watching TV programs and just going like, I want to be like that. Oh, I want to be like that guy. Like, yeah, and stories really can remind you of who you want to be. So I just like to do good work. I'd like great scripts, working with great people who love the craft. And if I can do that, man, I'm happy.
Brilliant. Yeah, no, that's great. I completely agree. I read as well in your previous interview with Vice, they asked if you still eat Frosties, and you said you never really did. It just wasn't your thing.
Yeah.
What is your cereal of choice?
Gosh, I don't even eat cereal.
Uh-huh. What do you have for breakfast?
See, I have like a smoothie. I'm a smoothie guy, which like oats with banana and peanut butter and cacao, and blend that, and I'm good. So like oats probably, but if I really had to choose, I was a huge fan of like I'm trying to remember what they were called, like Cocoa Pops.
Yeah.
Called Cocoa Pops, but they're like the round. I think we have them. They're called like Nestle.
Yeah, I think they're like.
You know what I mean? They're like a little bowl shape.
Yeah, like Nesquik type little balls. Yeah, I can't remember what they're called. But yeah. Okay, brilliant.
Yeah, that would be like
Oh, amazing. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for joining us on the Curious Cast. I do really appreciate it. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell the listeners that we didn't cover? Anything you'd like to get out there, other than the fact you're not dead?
Other than the fact that I'm not dead, I'm alive and well. What would I like to tell people? I'd like to tell people who are potentially struggling with anxiety or depression or body image issues that, man, like there's no nice way to say this, but you got a long road ahead of you. But stick it out, because life is really worth living, and it's worth living a great life. And to remind people of that there's hope. There's always hope.
Amazing. Thank you, mate.
Lekker, man.
Okay.
Lekker, Tom.
Thank you for joining us, Sven. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
And I hope you keep doing well.
Thank you. You too. And good luck to the rest of the team.
Okay. Have a nice day, man.
Lekker, Tom. You too, man. Keep well.
Thank you. See ya.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And we're back in the room.
Tom,
that was
unbelievable. Unbelievable. You've just elevated the Curios cast from shit to true journalistic integrity.
That was
that's a big jump. We skipped a couple steps there.
I almost feel bad that like if he listens to the rest of the content.
Yeah.
That what a fucking nice dude.
What was his name? Sorry, the first name?
Sven.
If you do listen to this, we appreciate you taking the time to speak to Tom.
He seemed pretty keen to like ask about the podcast.
Yeah.
And I felt quite bad, but like he seems like such a Sven, if you are watching, you seem like such a nice, genuine guy.
Yeah.
Like he's a big part of like in his church community, and he's doing all these talks for kids and stuff, and then here we are just like,
but you know what,
ridiculous.
even though this podcast is a bit of fun, a bit irreverent, whatever that word is,
good word,
we can still use it as a platform for a little bit of good. So it's good that you've been able to talk to Sven about some of the issues that
that was actually sick.
He's faced.
Big up Sven. In all seriousness.
Yeah, that was really unexpectedly wholesome.
Yeah.
That was really classy. What a lovely man.
Tom's been saying for the past week or a week and a half or something, not to log into our Gmail account, to not check it, because he's got a good follow up, some good news. So, but if I would never have been able to guess that was
no, I mean either.
Yeah.
No, that's sick.
Well, how would you have guessed?
The whole time though that Faz is saying something there, I'm just laughing because your creepy little hand is coming out.
I can't get my other one out because we've rigged the mic through my armhole.
I've been so excited to like reveal it for the last week or so, like the interview that I've done.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you, Sven.
Thank you very much.
Agreeing
Sven.
to be part of the Curios cast.
Yeah, big up. That's actually sick.
I feel like we're not good enough for Sven.
No, that's what I feel like. Yeah.
You know when you have that relationship where you're punching? I feel like we're punching with Sven.
Yeah,
I feel like we need to do better.
We could have a segment, Ask Sven. Going forward.
I have to call him every month.
And you just call and just ask him about something. Good. But no, it's amazing work. That's the best follow-up we've ever had and ever will have. I think.
Yeah, it really is. I need to turn this fucking smoke machine off.
Better than courgettes, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, one of the other things I was going to fact check was where the word zucchini came from, and once I pulled that out of the bag, I was like, nah, I'm not interested in zucchini anymore.
Can you stop laying your hand on my knee, please?
I'm sorry, it's really uncomfortable. I might just retract it.
Like a little tortoise going.
Sorry, that's horrible.
Well, yeah, big ups.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
That's the follow-up. Well, it's the follow-up of all follow-ups. We can't fucking...
So that is the wholesome part of the podcast over and done with, and we return to our normal format of disgusting news. Well, actually, not. Probably, maybe not.
Actually, no. Yeah, I'm on the spooky vibe.
Spooky.